There once was an idea. Cauldron knows this, called the Valkyrie Squad. The idea was to bring together a group of remarkable people to see if they could become something more. To see if they could train together across the world to fight the battles that they never thought they could. 1 year has passed. We still believe in this idea. In Valkyries. Hi everyone, my name is Sam Willens, your mother of Valkyries and your host of the Sword and the Ribbon podcast. This is our season 1 finale episode. I know, I'm sad too, but yes, I said season 1, so that means I'll be back for season 2 next year. This episode is going to be released 1 week out from the 1 year anniversary of Valkyrie Squad, and since the squad is the whole reason this podcast even exists, like calls to like, and we are ending this podcast season together where we began it, with the Valkyries. In episode 2, we talked all about how a book inspired a legion. If you haven't heard the backstory, pause, hop over there to listen before we keep going on. But in March of 2022, I decided to make a program after reading A Court of Silver Flames, and then chaos ensued. But I won't drag you through the chaos, but I'll give you a quick rundown of dates and numbers. On March 28th of 2022, I had finished reading A Court of Silver Flames, made a TikTok video with the caption, "Born to make this program happen." That was the first announcement publicly I was going to do this program. April 6th, another TikTok caption, "When reading inspires you to write a themed training program." April 20th, I talked about making 3 Avatar workouts and the Valkyrie program on TikTok. On May 12th, I designed sports bras, including the fan favorite Valkyrie bra, just so I had something to wear for the 3 original workouts. June 10th, I released a mini SJM heroine workout on TikTok and started writing the Valkyrie Squad program. On June 16th, the Cursebreaker and Valkyrie mini TikTok workouts were released, and we got the first glimpse of the iconic bras. June 20th, I started filming Novice Month workouts. June 26th, I released the full Micro Squad workouts, A Quart of Sweat and Sass, Cursebreaker, and Valkyrie training. On June 29th, all the fan favorite sports bras were released. On July 7th, I finished filming week 4 of Novice. And then on July 8th, I got my sword tattoo on my bicep just days before starting filming Blade Month. July 12th, I started filming Blade Week 1. And July 13th, I opened signups for pre-register early access to Valkyrie Squad. By the end of the day, there were already 100 people signed up, and when I tell you I was shocked, I was shocked. On July 16th, I started filming Blade Week 2. And by the way, in those 4 days between Blade Weeks 1 and 2, I also filmed more SJM workouts because I'm ridiculous, I know. And on July 19th to July 24th, I filmed all of Blade Weeks 3 and 4. And now this is where it gets really fucking insane. In the span of 4 days, from July 25th to July 28th, I filmed all 4 weeks of Valkyrie Month. Then on July 29th, I filmed the original intro to Valkyrie video, the Mighty Thor workout, and went live on TikTok that day. That was also the day I met Bex, and she gave me the idea for our Discord community. Also, check out episode 2 to hear more about the community and what it has become. It's crazy to think this time last year, in the beginning of August when we were recording, I had wrapped filming on July 28th and was in editing and finalizing mode to launch. By August 31st, we had 1,300 people on the early access sign-up list. I was in complete shock and awe. I truly thought there would only be 30 people signing up for the program. Then Friday, September 2nd, this was the day. All early access members got their email to enter the program, and anyone with a Micro Squad membership could officially start. On September 5th was general access for anyone else who wanted to join, they could. On September 8th was the virtual SJM event, our very first Discord community event. By October 3rd, there were 300 Valkyries in the program. October 13th, producer Mia joked about making a podcast. On October 26th, producer Bex also joked about it, but we very seriously were like, if you're doing it, I want to be a part of it. Check out our Instagram to see this text exchange. November 3rd, Mia and Bex convinced me that we could actually do this podcast and started planning. December 6th, Tina from Workshop asked to partner with her to create an exclusive workout collection, which I totally freaked out and fangirled about. On December 15th, I started filming Ataraxia Month to give the Valkyries a bit more. December 21st was our first big Valkyrie event, where we celebrated Valkyrie Winter Solstice, and I gifted everyone the Cassian Mind Stilling. On January 1st of 2023, Ataraxia Month launched. On January 2nd, I recruited producer Carolyn to join the podcast Chaos. January 3rd, the squad hit 1,000 Valkyries. January 5th, I met with Taylor Ash, who agreed to write our podcast intro music, and we had the first official podcast planning meeting. January 19th, we recorded our first podcast episode, and on January 31st, the first 3 episodes of the Sword and the Ribbon podcast released. On April 6th, my Workshop collab workout collection was released. On April 25th, the squad grew officially to 2,000 Valkyries, and finally, April 28th, to the 30th, we had our first Valkyrie Squad meetup. To hear more, check out episode 15, all about how we climbed the mountain. Whew! So let's take a quick break and hear from our first sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Workshop. Why work out when you can work out? Studies show that your wardrobe can affect your mood, self-esteem, and performance. Wearing clothing that is specifically designed for physical activity can give you a psychological boost to help reach your goals. And hey, if that clothing can help you express your individuality, it's all the better. Workshop is all about living your best life, embracing your individuality, and giving it all you've got. Whether you are trained to climb the mountain, taking a Taylor Swift yoga class, or running out to grab a matcha, they've got you covered. All their products are made in-house in their small studio outside of Los Angeles, California. In an effort to fight fast fashion, they keep inventory tight and make everything in small batches. The owner, Tina, designs everything by hand, making sure the designs are one of a kind, just like you. My favorite sets in no particular order are obviously the Valkyrie and Athena sets, the Featherlight Bells and Tank in Pit Viper and Tarot, and the Athleisure leggings and Tank in Moon Phases to help channel your inner Feyre. And of course, the brand new spooky season Athleisure set, which features my favorite, bats! You can head to workshop.com, and that's WERK shop.com, and use my code BODYSEMANTICS for 10% off. Okay, so that was a lot. So much has happened, but while my success appears to be overnight and instant, it wasn't. It took me years to find my groove, to find my style of teaching, to then refining that style into something that can be viewed as success. I went from big box gyms as a personal trainer over 10 years ago. Then a year into being at the gym, I struck out on my own to pursue my own business as a trainer, getting more certifications underneath my belt, finding different ways to teach, taking multiple side jobs, including writing online for a yoga blog, working front desk at tech companies in San Francisco, to making theme park inspired merchandise. I worked 7 days a week to just find out who I was as an instructor to make ends meet. I went into studio teaching and thought that was going to be my next career move, to become a master instructor and teach other teachers. But then the pandemic hit and everything changed, and you can check out episode 1 for more of that story. When I look back, I think, holy shit, so much has happened, so much has changed. But when you listen to all those dates, you may think, wow, she put in the hard work and it happened. And I want you to know it took years before of hard work and dedication to find the niche I'm in now. I went into the cauldron and was remade. I feel like I was actually boiled in the cauldron for 10 years until I was well done. But it took time and effort for me to evolve into who I am today. Just like any other Pokemon, you might not have recognized me before, though you see and know me now. You too can change and evolve. It takes time and effort and hard work. It takes risking vulnerability and being uncomfortable to get into the cauldron to see what will come out on the other end. Success doesn't come overnight to anyone. You never know what's going on between the lines on someone's social media caption or behind the curtains of their lives. But if you have a dream, you gotta make them happen. It all depends on you. So I work real hard each and every day. Now things for sure are going my way. Just doing what I do. Look out, Valkyries, I'm coming through. Before we run on through to the end of this episode, What have we learned this year from Valkyrie Squad? For the squad members, they share the program's impact on their lives daily in the Discord community. They talk about how their mood changes and feeling empowered. They are more confident and strong, not only physically, but also stronger in the mental and emotional growth they've found. The awareness within the body and knowing what they need, of how progress starts slow and builds to more strength each day. Valkyrie Squad gives them a layer of security. They feel confident and can defend themselves if the situation ever came up. So many of them talk about how before the program they were nervous, but feel more empowered to step outside their own four walls. They are confident in kicking ass and standing up for themselves, either at work, in a relationship, or in defense of their own inner circle. This program is so necessary for this time in history in our lives. Some Valkyries express feeling unsafe, and this program gives them the support and courage to keep standing for whatever it is they believe in. I didn't realize how needed this program was across the board. I truly was just having fun when I created it, but it turned into something so much more. Having a safe place and community to voice whatever comes up in your life with no judgment or place for shame or for anything to harm them is what the Valkyrie Squad community is all about. And for me, what have I learned? I gotta grab the tissues, my support sleeves, because fuck. This is the season finale because I'm growing and learning to take breaks. Many of you have expressed concern that I need to slow down. Don't worry, I am. I want to do and create all the things because I care about each one of you listeners, Valkyries, and Micro Squad members. I will fiercely defend each of you, go to battle for you, and give you the training that you need. I want to be able to make all the programs and classes for you, but I've realized I don't need to overwhelm or stress myself out or cause my own burnout doing it. Looking back over the past year, there are so many things I have learned and grown into, but there are 3 that feel really big, and those are what I am going to share with you. The first is how I dealt with major imposter syndrome. If you don't know what imposter syndrome is, it's the internal experience of feeling like a fraud in some area of your life, despite any success that you have achieved in that area. I felt this all the time, like all the fucking time. It was very apparent ever since Valkyrie Squad came out of the cauldron. I know I say this, but I seriously never thought anyone would like this program. Maybe a few people here and there, but I never expected more than 100 people. Then a year later, there are 2,000 Valkyries, and obviously I was wrong. When I do form one-on-ones with someone or someone DMs me, that person knows me well, and I'm just meeting them for the first time. It's a strange feeling because I want you all to feel like you know me. You have me in your homes with you daily, watching the videos, working out with me. But I also don't know you, so sometimes I forget you all know me without meeting me. Like people are awestruck meeting me because for them it feels like they're finally meeting me, but I'm just as awestruck that they even want to talk to me. It's like they see it as a celeb status, but I don't, nope. Nah, not one little bit do I feel celebrity at all. I figured that out during the Valkyrie meetup that people got awestruck, but I don't see myself that way. I'm just Sam I am, and I actually do really like green eggs and ham. Despite blowing up on TikTok and still no one recognizing me in public, despite all the squad members or Instagram followers, none of that makes me feel like I've earned it, and my internal villains just keep telling me I'm a fraud. Ironically, really ironically, I read an imposter syndrome book a month or 2 before I started reading ACOTAR. I didn't realize I experienced this on such an insane level before that book. And yes, for all you bookworms out there who are curious, it's called The Imposter Cure, Escape the Mind Trap of Imposter Syndrome by Dr. Jessamy Hyberd. While I still struggle with imposter syndrome, I am working on recognizing how much I've done and that I am a leader of this fierce group of Valkyries. I can't tell you how to get over it. I haven't figured it out yet. But for me, all the messages are what help. Messages from anyone sharing how the program has impacted them in some way. They always come at the perfect time. It's like everyone has a sixth sense about when they know I'm struggling. They say how much the program has impacted them and their lives. And I don't know what to say in those moments. I'm just so overwhelmed. It's the most grounding thing when those messages or comments come in. They remind me that I've been helping people without really realizing it. And maybe it's okay to feel confident in what I've created, because while I know the workouts are good, you all remind me that it's making a difference in your lives, and that's all I really care about. The second area I feel like I've had major growth in is around the feeling of like I was never doing enough. You could just listen to all of those dates, and so many of them were close together. It's shocking even to me still. From the very start of the program, I was constantly making videos. And for those who were there, it was apparent I kept making more videos. I wanted to help. So for every question that was asked, I made a video. And now there are 30 plus extra videos. Whoops. But I wanted to keep adding more and giving everyone the tools they need. And that's an insane pressure I put on myself to be there and help every single person. I think from the outside, people see me as a people pleaser, but it's not that. I want people to find success, to be comfortable and happy in their own bodies. That's what it is about for me. So I don't see it in that sense of me just doing what people ask. You all know we went through a huge website change for the better, but it was a shit ton of work for months. I had to go through and categorize every single video that I had ever created so it would be tagged for you to find. When I was doing that, I realized how much I've already done. Like, wow. I mean, come on, there are over 500 videos on the fucking site. And even though I have a squad helping me make videos and content, majority of those videos are actually me. I realized I have done enough, but it's like the quote, keep moving forward, and I don't look back. I took Timon and Pumbaa a little too literally when they said, you got to put your behind in your past. No. Lie down before you hurt yourself. It's, you got to put your past behind you. And when I came to this realization, it actually made me depressed. Because the website rebuild was so hard and seeing all the things and videos, I realized I really did too much. Just like that imposter syndrome book talked about, it's the feeling that you've never done enough or are doing enough. And the book tells you to write down and see what you actually have done. So when I cataloged everything, I realized I had done too much. And I think of all that I put in and sacrificed in that time. I don't ever want to do that again. Now, as I plan for the future, moving forward with the new programs I am creating, I keep reminding myself that I don't have to overdo it. I can say, I already have a video there. Why do I need to re-record that? I don't. It's already there. It's okay if it's not specifically designated for this program. It's the same material. Even writing new programs, wink, 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 I'm able to split up the new workouts so I don't film an entire week of workouts in a day or a month of workouts in 4 days. Literally, right now, I'm putting all this into practice and still working on it. I plan it all out to pace myself so I don't get overwhelmed. I currently even have a spreadsheet of everything I have coming up, which helps me realize I actually am doing enough work. The last thing, and probably the most important thing, is so much of my life, I felt like I never belonged until this. Much like all the people in the Discord have said they found a place, so have I. This is what I was dealing with after I hit 1,000 Valkyries in January. My incredible friend Valkyrie Val posted this video in a Discord channel. By the way, I'm about to say some huge Akasif spoilers if you haven't finished reading it. But the video talked about how even though Nesta did this incredible thing of saving Feyre and Rhys and Nyx's lives, she will never be thanked and recognized for it. Literally got no thanks or praise from it. And she didn't need it. But it showed that Feyre was the favorite. Everyone was literally willing to stand up and die for her. But because Nesta has made them all doubt her, she would never receive that kind of love and support. That's the dynamic in their relationship. Feyre was outwardly the favorite and Nesta wasn't. And that rang so true for me. I don't fit the quote-unquote norm for anyone in the fitness industry. I feel like an outsider. And seeing that portrayed in Nesta, I never thought I could have had that understanding or acknowledgement or support. But I had 1,000 people behind me, thankful for me, supporting me, cheering me on, and their leader, and I couldn't comprehend that acceptance. I cried and texted Valkyrie Val that this is exactly what I've been dealing with. Seeing that video made me realize I was dealing with those things privately, and I talked it through with them. What I was experiencing, I didn't know the best way to express it, but this analogy through a book was what I didn't know I needed. For so long, I had been measuring myself against this other standard that I didn't fit into, even though I know I shouldn't, but I couldn't figure out how to process it. And it always bothered me. Like I would try to go into yoga studios and I couldn't get a job because I was too much of a trainer. And yet I was too much in a gym because I was always making jokes and singing with my clients. Then being in a fitness studio, and I would still make stupid jokes and have themed days and be so weird because that's who I was. My managers just let me do whatever, but they silently, and sometimes not so silently, told me I was too much and never really accepted. So to finally be at this stage in my life and be comfortable in who I am and what it's like to work out with me, and that's actually accepted and loved by people out there who also love this odd style, this is so overwhelming. That video was able to put into perspective for me that I'm not going to be like Farah. I will never be universally liked by the fitness community I'm part of. But I get to be okay with that. And I have a group of people that are accepting and loving, and they message me regularly without being asked to, telling me I've changed their lives. But they don't realize how much they have changed my life and impact me day to day. And that being the weirdest fuck trainer has a place in this world. And just real quick, as we end this podcast, I wanted to thank every single person in my life who helped me get here in this past year. Thank you to my tester squad, Carolyn, Rebecca, and Melissa, to my local members cheering me on, Julie and Janice, to my squad leaders, Mia, Gabby, Lydia, for endlessly supporting me, cheering, offering advice and solace, to Mark, obviously, listening to my endless prattle about a book series and being a constant rock I crashed against, to Bex for reaching out your hand to help a complete stranger before this even got off the ground, to Mia, Vaz, Val, Kelly, and Kat for being the amazing mods they are to help keep the community running smoothly and offering assistance wherever they could, to Sarah for understanding the shift in tides and jumping headfirst into the ocean of design to create literal fucking magic. And while they've already been mentioned in other areas, the producers, the writers, and editor of this podcast, thank you for everything you do, for listening to the chaos and making it a cohesive season that never made this podcast feel like work. And thank you to so many others. There are so many people who offered support in any way they could during this past year, whether they were in the program or in real life friends and family. And as cliche as it sounds, you know who you are, and thank you. Thank you to every single Valkyrie who decided to take up their sword and train with me. You all changed my life in more ways than I ever imagined. And I can hear them playing the wrap-up music, so let's make this quick. Thank you, listeners. Yes, you, on the other end of this podcast. Without you, season 1 of this podcast wouldn't have even been possible, and I wouldn't have had so much fucking fun. Okay. Enough with the emotions. Conceal, don't feel, don't let them know, but fuck now they know. But let's wrap this episode up. This week's piece of Cauldron Bless Wisdom is that Rihanna was wrong when she told us to work. While, yes, there is a time and place for work, it doesn't have to be your entire life. You don't have to do all the things, hustle all the time, get overwhelmed, stressed out, and create chaos to be successful in your own life. You may be doing too much if you are experiencing all of those things. The burnout and emotional roller coaster is not worth it to get there. You can fill your plate, but it's better to recognize when your plate is comfortably full instead of trying to pile on more and more mashed potatoes, because even though they might fall over, they technically fit. So your last action item for season 1. When you feel like things are out of control or you're doing too much, stop and reflect. Who is that girl I see staring straight back at me? Take a look at what you've done, pull the documents, screenshots, pictures, and see everything. Just like when I spent a month relooking at all my old videos, take a Post-it note, and for each single thing you've done, write one thing per Post-it note and stick them to your wall. Cover your wall with everything you've done and take a step back and see how far you've come. See how many things are up there and how much you have done. Then look at your wall and repeat the phrase, I have done enough. make sure you take a picture and tag us at the Sword and the Ribbon podcast on Instagram because we want to see all the things you have done and celebrate with you. Now it's time for me to be marvelously mysterious and tease you all about what has been locked in the ice and behind closed doors for a while. So much is coming in the next year that for shits and giggles, I thought I would give you a bit of a teaser. Once upon a time, there was a mother of Valkyries that went to the bookish school of fandoms. There she was studying to become the master of the mystic arts, honing her powers of electric touch, and to become as mysterious as the famous mystic Tay-Tay. There she encountered creatures with defrosting powers and classes on how to train with wings. And while I love you latte listeners, you're going to have to subscribe to the Micro Squad and podcast newsletters for more surprises about what's to come before Season 2. To end Season 1, you all asked and I listened. I am here with the finale musical number to serenade you onward. I'll be back. Soon you'll see. You'll remember you listened to me. I'll be back for Season 2. You'll remember your cauldron wisdom too. The surf will rise, the rocks will fall. You'll be able to mind still through it all. So pick up your sword and hear the call. Try not to kill your friends and family, but be strong, kick ass, and be fucking magical. Da 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 da. Da 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 yada. Da 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 yada. Da 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 da. Da 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 yada. Everybody! This episode was produced by Bex Castro, Mia Garlock, and Carolyn McMorrin. Special thank you to Taylor Ash for creating the music of this podcast. And thanks for listening to The Sword and the Ribbon by the Micro Squad. If you're interested in learning more about the Valkyrie Squad, visit us at thevalkyriesquad.com. If you're interested in learning more about the Micro Squad or Geek Gym for a class, visit us at themicrosquad.com. Make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you get your podcasts from so you don't miss out. And if you like this week's episode, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts.